Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Options House. Joe, how you doing on this wild Wednesday morning?
Wild Wednesday morning. Pretty good, Joel. We're having a heat wave here in Michigan. I think it was 36 to 38 degrees on my way in. I remember stepping outside this morning and feeling like, whew, boy, this coat is really heavy all of a sudden. I don't need this anymore. But, still, to people down in Florida, it'd be a state of emergency. So I'm pretty pleased with what's going on out there today. We have a very exciting show.
Okay.
As usual, Wednesday, we'll have Harlan Pyan on from All About Trends. I tried to get his counterpart, David Grandy, on today, but it looks like out in California, the time is just too early. So we'll have Harlan on today because he's a mountain time kind of guy. And thank you to Dennis who got us Chris is it Banyai or Banyai. I can
It's
never remember.
Banyai.
Banyai will be on at 8:55. Dennis will be staying on the show for that interview as well. So that's what we have going on today. Forecast for the rest of the week. From your local meteorologist here on Options House, Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Tomorrow's Thursday, so we're going to learn how to pay for that expensive Chicago soup with Fari Hamzai. And we have All-Star Charts, JC Peretz, on the show tomorrow. I bet you're excited about that, Joel.
JC's a good guy. I like him. I
He
like
is a
that.
good
I
guy.
like.
Anybody's a good guy that responds to my emails. So that's my unit of measurement for how
I'm a
good of a
good guy
person
then
is.
too, Joe.
That's right, you are, Dennis. But Dennis, you also are always online. You always answer my phone calls, and you never have any technical issues. So that puts you one notch higher than Joel.
I
Woo-hoo!
just the whole delivery and everything. I just knew where the punchline was coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what we've got going on today and tomorrow. I will save Friday's guest list. Stick around for that. Obviously, it's Friday, so SMA info. Joe Gitz will be on with his pre-market sentiment or market sentiment from the pre-market edge report. That's
Sound
what we've got going on.
Wow, that sounds good, Joe. You're on your game today.
I'm on my
Okay.
game every day, Joel.
Okay, S&P's trading up, Dennis. Once again, just a couple numbers to alert our traders to. 67 even, yesterday's high. We've only got to 67.50 so far in the pre-market session. Just not seeing a lot of resistance up there, Dennis. What about you?
Well, it's a little range here today, Joel, for once. Only 6.5 points here overnight. We've been used to seeing these 20-point ranges overnight. So quiet trading session despite a few major earnings reports, which we will get to. Oracle, FedEx, Adobe, Solar City, General Mills, KB Homes due to report. So we do have some pretty good report or pretty major reports. I don't know if they were good or not because a few of them didn't look too good. But stock market is resilient and trading higher here again. What's the high? What's the all-time high? I always forget. 1876?
No, the switch of the contract basis, the new June contract, the all-time high is 1880.50 that we hit on March 7th. Just the reason I have a hard time finding resistance here is because after we made that high, we made a 75 and a quarter high, and then that's when we had a little bit of the breakdown. So really going up to 75 and a quarter, the high on the 11th, not a lot in there. I guess coming back on the downside, as long as we never take out that pre-market low, and that's 1861 even. I guess that's really the only support you have on the downside.
So we're within striking distance of that all-time high here today.
Yeah, with the FedEx earnings, not being great, I just, we'll see what the driver is, but hanging out right near yesterday's high.
But you saw the Oracle earnings here last night, and I'll just give them to you quickly. 68 cents versus 70 cents, 9.31 billion versus 9.36 billion. They did the guidance was kind of right there, Q2 92 to 99, analyst estimates at 96. They really beat it up on the initial headline numbers. They knocked the stock down into the 36 handle. It's now trading 37.73, so it's come back a long ways from those lows. But I thought they might start knocking down the entire, tech sector a little bit on this Oracle report. And it really didn't
No,
happen.
no,
It's really
no.
just kind of stuck with Oracle here.
Let's see here. You did get an initial spike down to 36.13. Have had a rebound almost all the way back up to the $38 level. I see some intraday reserve pre-market resistance coming in under 38 here. 37, 80, 89, 91. The last few highs in the on the 15-minute chart. Looking at this, the perspective of the dailies, 38.15 was yesterday's low. So that I say that whole $38 be good resistance. You get a back above there, you have a chance to rally. Coming back on the downside here, temporary support at 37.50, but 50.52. But since you really cracked that in the pre-market, I'll only use that as minor support.
Yeah, tech stocks holding up with the QQQ trading actually higher here. So everything is resilient, Joel. You just can't knock this market down. Adobe was interesting yesterday, though. Were you watching it at 3:30 when the earnings leaked?
Yeah, what happened there?
Earnings leaked a little bit ahead of the report. Somebody got their hands on it, so then they just reported it at 3:30. They reported earnings of 30 cents versus 25 cents and 1 billion versus 973 million. So you can see the big spike in your chart intraday there. That was from the earnings report being leaked during the day when it spiked up there over 70 a couple of times there actually off the report. Did pull back down though, and they had guidance there that they did release after hours kind of right in line, a little slightly higher, 26 to 32 versus 27 cents. So it's kind of right there. And the stock's just hanging out here, trying to figure
Yeah,
out
it's
which way
really.
it wants to go.
Remember when that happened to Google a couple years ago? Do you remember
Yeah.
that? Yep.
And Disney happened to Disney too. Sometimes
It
these
happens.
companies, I think what used to happen, there was actually some companies that what they do is like they basically just keep pinging the website. So they
Exactly.
have like an algorithm that's built to just literally hit the company's website continuously, and it's looking behind the scenes. So what happens sometimes is a company will post the earnings up on their website, and then at 4 o'clock give the link to where that is reported, but sometimes they'll guess at it, or these algorithms will find it ahead of time and then report it out too. Some of these news companies trying to break the news and be the first to break the news. So that's what happened. I remember back there with the Disney is basically they had the earnings up there on the site, but nobody would know the link. But when you have an algorithm built to continuously hit the site, then all of a sudden, obviously, they can find it out and possibly trade on it or give that information and sell it.
How could they think that they can put it on their site and someone wouldn't be able to ping it and pick it
I,
up?
I don't think they're doing it as much now. I think they've kind of learned their lesson. But I mean, back in the day, if you put something up on a website and you don't give the link out to anybody, it's just hidden behind the scenes. Nobody would find it. But now with the fancy algorithms will find the link.
Sounds like you are the one that have the fancy algorithm there,
I
because you
wish I had
because
that
you know so
algorithm,
much
but
about it.
what do you think though? Like, okay, so it's up there on the website, so it's public information. So I
Yeah.
don't think it would be illegal. I mean, if they're putting it up on the website, if you're smart enough to find the link behind the scenes, I guess you can trade on it, even though nobody else would have that information yet. It's kind of a gray area.
Yeah, and those companies they oftentimes use very similar URLs. So that's exactly why they can do that. They say, okay, last year they used this URL. They're probably going to change the quarter, change the year, that kind of thing. And like when the results came out, it was like a slideshow presentation. It wasn't like the official press release or anything. So I'm sure what you just described is exactly what happened in this case, Dennis.
That's interesting. You get that information on Benzinga's pre-market prep and nowhere else. That spike took it up over the $70 level. Took it up to 70.23, 70.24 was the high after hours here. Looking
That
at the
actually coincided nicely with the high during the day too, when we got up at 3:30 and the initial spike off the earnings, we now went up to 70.24. Then the stock closed and the guidance came out and they spiked it right back to the same area.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot going on here. I just would look at yesterday's high, 70.24. Trading below that, look at that as resistance. Besides that, you really don't have anything else up until the all-time high at 71.11. For you traders that are looking to sell this on weakness here, 67.52 and 73, the last two lows from Monday and Tuesday. Call 67.60 your major support level.
FedEx just reported here around 7:30 this morning, and they missed a buck 23 versus a buck 46. It's a big miss. 11.3 billion versus 11.43 billion, so a little miss on the top line. Guidance slightly lower for the full year, but not too bad. 655 to 680 analyst estimates were up at 690. What do you think they cited though, Joel, in the report?
The weather outside is dreadful.
You know it. It was the weather. Actually, Brian Sozzi, I think he was just tweeting out. He counted, he was reading through the report. 12 times FedEx mentions the weather. Severe winter storms hindering their results there. Obviously, that's been the go to spot for companies to blame this quarter.
What about with the drones? Would the drones be worried about the weather? Could they just navigate, through and deliver your package, and it wouldn't be a big deal? What do you think about
Maybe.
that?
I
I
think
don't know.
drones would have some problems, yeah.
Yeah, you think they would? Okay.
I think everybody has problems during the weather, but it's kind of getting an old story here that everybody cites the weather. And I mean, it's only down a buck here. The earnings weren't good. The guidance wasn't good. Maybe everybody kind of thought, well, weather, FedEx, they're probably going to have trouble delivering some stuff. Maybe the earnings are going to be a little bit lower because it's not down very much here on this
Well, it
report.
was though, Dennis. It was. They took it down all the way to 134.47 before they just caught the wicked rebound here, back over the 138 level. 138.20 is the high on the rebound. That gets you into yesterday's range as well with a 138.57 close. You're still buck away from that. Our opening near the low from yesterday's session as well as from the low from Tuesday. So let's just call that 137 level. You don't hold 137. I think you could easily see the 136 level. There is a triple bottom there at 135.88 to 136. So let's call 136 the major support, and let's call the close major resistance 138.57. You got to figure after seeing it trade down to 134 and change, a lot. Anybody get to see the mark on that one will probably be pretty happy to let the stock go.
Here's interesting. UPS, the sympathy play, is actually down just as much as FedEx here. UPS has been trading actively. It was trading at 96.13. Somebody was offering the stock and just would not move. They kept offering the stock at 96.13. And everybody's buying them because FedEx is rallying, and that would be down $1.30, which is a little bit overdone. Now it's been up at 96.60, so it's come back up quite a bit from when that guy was just sitting there offering 96.13 and not moving. So UPS down still at 80 cents here, though.
Yeah, they did take that under 95.20 all the way to 95, or excuse me, 96. 96.01, the low in the pre-market. You are getting a bounce here. 97 is a key level for this issue. Double bottom there, right at that area, 96.75.85. So that's going to act as resistance now, and a 96 even. Pre-market low coincides with your low from Friday at 96.08.
Solar City.
Solar City. How much money did they lose?
Hi. We'll give them a break. Actually, they did. They lost 46 cents. We're supposed to lose 55 cents, so that's good news, right? 47.3 million versus 45.2 million, so that's good news, right? But then the guidance. They were supposed to only lose next quarter. See, they always lose money. Supposed to only lose 50 cents. They're losing 70 to 80 cents. So they don't like the guidance. They knocked the stock down. This was worse though after hours there last night, I believe, after the report. It's now trading down only $1.21 here. But Joel, last night, how low did we get on
Boy,
Solar City?
Well, you got to spike up to $80
On the initial headline number, so it was like the whipsaw trade. They didn't notice the guidance off those initial numbers, and it's like, oh, it's a beat. We got to buy this thing. News algos come in, buy it all the way up to 80, and then knock it all the way down to
74.
74. So wild range, 6-point range there. Now we're kind of hanging out just a buck down from where we closed,
Yeah.
75.80.
Yeah, kind of right near the middle here. Let's just take a look at the dailies. You had a nice string of higher lows going, and obviously that's going to get broken today. Currently trading at 75.88, down $1.22. Don't see a lot of support, Dennis, until you get down to the double bottom, 73.40, 73.75. That's still $2 away from here, but those are levels you got to keep an eye on. Coming back on the upside here, 77.10 and 77.43 kind of close near the highs here, but I think you're going to see a lot of resistance in the 76 handle.
There also was a 8K late last night. It was after the earnings report. Solar City said that They, based on determination, December 31st, 2010 and 2011 financial statements should no longer be relied upon. So they're going to have to do a little bit of restating there. Doesn't look like it hit the stock last night, but just a little something else that's going to add to uncertainty today.
That whole $72 area, that's the area it needs
Is
to
that what you're
hold here.
looking
We're up
at?
at 7. Yeah, but that's longer term. I don't think it's going to see that today, but as long as it stays above 72, trying to set you guys up with a little scenario analysis here. The Bulls, I think, keep charge of this one as long as it's above 72. Below 72, I don't like it.
These guys are popping in with EXAS. Is there something breaking on that today?
Stocks pop and clinical trials there.
Oh, of course, of
Yeah,
course. What
yeah,
are
we're breaking out here to new highs on EXAS Exact Sciences. It's up a buck 24 here this morning, up 8% trade of 1566. The old high is up there 1495, or the old. Actually, I'm going back to the monthlies here. This might be all-time highs for the stock.
it is, and DJ, it did trade higher here after the initial news broke. I kind of don't like to see this when you get a spike up like that. You got a double top at 16.99. Someone stepping ahead, perhaps, of a decent sized seller at 17. Now you've fallen off a whole stick since then, down to 15.40, 15.55. So still like to see it hold that level, because if you don't, you start to sneak back into yesterday's range, and you don't want to see that happen as it trading trading higher. If you really get a decline and you get back to that 1450 area, there were multiple highs in that area that should act as support. The former all-time high was 1495 here, so a little bit of a breakout here for Exact Sciences.
Colt's Luck is giving some props to Rachel Fox. The stocks that she mentioned on the show yesterday did pretty good. That ONN or ONNN, I guess it's the three N's went up there. And also Flextronics, FLEX, got a nice pop there too yesterday.
Yeah, I did. We were talking about those on the desk here. Yeah, I thought she handled herself pretty well in that interview. We didn't really
Not too bad for 6 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock in the morning for a 17-year-old girl. She did a good job. But yeah, there were a couple winners on that. If you happen to get on those trades, we'll definitely have to have her back on again.
What was the third one she mentioned? Anybody remember? There's
Um,
three. If somebody
um,
in the chat remembers, write it in there because I don't remember what the third one was.
I had my chat open. I can scroll up real quick.
okay, all right. Fox on stocks, 2 for 2 here at on pre-market prep. All right, Dennis. What else do we
Well, you got
do?
Priceline popping up here a little bit this
Oh,
morning. We're up another 4.5 bucks. GS reiterating their conviction buy. Price target 1500.
1,500, huh? Man, oh
1500.
man.
It's 1300. So they're basically saying there's another 200 points upside here.
Wow, this has really come off hard here, but you got a double bottom under that 1280 level at 1267. How do you like that? Two lows within a nickel on a $1,300 stock. Now
Can't
trading up at 1309. I'll just alert our traders that 1308.79 was a high on Monday. So that's, potential, I guess, a support point now that it's trading above that level. Not a lot of activity. Things really open up, though. I just don't see any resistance until you get to the high from last Thursday at 1338. But these $1,400 stocks are tough to trade.
Well, I'll give you an $8 stock to trade because Goldman Sachs likes Priceline. They do not like Orbitz Worldwide, OWW. Trading down here about 40 cents, or actually 50 cents in the pre-market. They put a sell rating, downgrade to sell at GS here today, so the nasty sell word. It's offered at 858 for 2,000. Nobody's sniffing him. Bid at 840. Somebody whacked him just with a couple of odd lots. One share, one share. I guess somebody just wanted to see it printed on the tape. But 840 is where it just ticked to.
Now they're a whole online selling vacation space, right?
Yeah, it's like the Travelocity, Orbitz, Expedia. They're all kind of the same deal, aren't
Okay.
they? Like
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know if
know.
they I don't know if they differentiate themselves at all. But I know when I go on, I use Travelocity, but sometimes I'll go look at Orbitz or Expedia. I'll just kind of bounce around looking and making sure that the prices are all kind of the same. I think there's like other sites that actually look at them all too, so to see where the best deal is. But yeah, that's what they're.
Okay, just spike down here to 840. getting into no man's land here, really in the issue. I don't know why it had that ridiculous move. What was that? Made a move from 750 and change all the way up. 760 went to 913 on February 13th. I don't know if that was earnings related.
It was.
Yeah, now you're coming right back down here. Just did you say it was offered at 840 in the pre-market or
It's
traded
offered
at?
at 858 for 2,000 shares, 860 with another 1,000 shares, and nobody's really sniffing them. So it looks like it wants to open down here below 860. There is a 400 share bid at 840, so it's kind of going to look like it's going to open around that 8.5 area.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to step in front of Goldman on this. I think the short's just me waiting for it to cascade here through the remainder of the 8 handle and then get down to that low at 760.
Well, funny, the price target that they put on OWW is $8. So I guess they're looking at the technicals and thinking that it might just cascade through today there, Joel. Is that what you're thinking? It could cascade
There's
all the way
nothing
through today?
there. I mean, there's nothing there. I
Not
mean,
much there, no.
yeah, I mean that's a kind of a scary looking chart.
Yeah, like we say, price has memory. When a stock moves quickly up through an area, it can move quickly down through that same area. So there's just not a lot of points there for you to be picking bottoms on this one. General Mills reported earnings. We missed that when we were flying through the earnings report and hasn't really responded at all. It's traded 0 shares here since the report. 62 cents versus 68 cents, which is a slight miss. 4.38 billion versus 4.46 billion, which is a slight miss. But they reaffirmed the full year outlook, and the stock is just hanging out and not responding at all. Best bids at 50.35, best offers at 51.10.
So did it when this got knocked down? Remember we were talking about this on the show a couple not too long ago. Remember it got knocked down to this 49.50 level. Was that like a downgrade by somebody or that was only
Let's go
three?
take a look. What day was that? That was just
Uh,
like 3 days ago.
yeah, yeah. I didn't remember.
They updated the fiscal outlook, so they came out and did an update. Is what
Y-
happened, and they must have just not had the great of an outlook here because they knocked the stock down $2.50. So maybe when you're missing by slightly here, they already kind of had pre-announced that the fiscal year wasn't looking fantastic. So this slight miss maybe was kind of expected, which might be the reason why it's kind of muted response to it.
Did you notice a seller at the point there? Because I see a 50.99 high and
52. I
50.
don't see 51, but I do see a huge seller up there at 52. Now that's a ways away, and unless they really decide to like this report and start buying it, I don't think we're going to see that. But there is 36,000 shares up at 52, and in front of him another 12,000 at 51.90. So you are thick. And when I'm looking at the book, the New York book, that's the only area I'm seeing where there's major resistance, and at least from an order flow perspective.
Yeah, 50.99 was yesterday's high. If in fact they really like this news, let's just take it above 50. Take out that high, hold the close, take out the high, and go barreling through 51. If that doesn't hold, I think you could just kind of back and fill. 50.35, the low from yesterday, coincides with your close on Monday. 50.35 to 50.43. So let's let it bounce around in yesterday's range and see if it resolves itself to the upside or the downside.
Back just to the earnings report, actually, not to the earnings, but to the ratings reports. Juniper upgraded at Wells Fargo here today, and it's trading up 60 cents right now.
Woo!
Here's a stock that had a pretty rough February, a pretty rough beginning of March. In the last 3 days, it's kind of been getting a lift here. And yesterday had a real nice pop. Today, the upgrade. It's moving today.
Interesting how that happens, huh, Dennis?
I'm not
No,
saying that.
no conspiracy theory here. 26.86 is the high in the pre-market. You've pulled back a little bit from that. Just nice resistance was forming at 26, and now we've busted up above that area. So let's see if we can come down. That area will now act as support. Looking at your pre-market trading, you're trading above the multiple highs that you had at the 2670 level. So let's keep an eye. Holds 2670. I think you can can rally up, maybe get into the mid 27s. If that 2670 level doesn't hold off the open, let's see if we can float back down to 26.
Nomura is bullish the mattresses, and they've initiated coverage. This isn't upgrades, but just initiating coverage on Tempur-Pedic and on what are the other two mattress companies there?
MFRM, yeah, mattress firm.
Select Comfort SCSS, Temper Sealy TPX, and then Mattress Firm MFRM. Kind of like,
MFRM.
yes,
Not really
sir.
much response to this at all, though. MFRM is bid up 30 cents, so they're trying to look at that one a little bit higher here. Tempur-Pedic.
What's that?
No, not
TM?
really. TPX, not any response to this yet at all. These aren't upgrades either. This is just looking at initiating coverage with it. So typically don't move the stocks as much as an upgrade or a downgrade, but I wouldn't say it's bad news for the stocks.
Taking a look here at Temper Tempur-Pedic here, Temper Sealy International. 52 is a big level in it. Hit 51.84 yesterday. Then you had a series of three highs between 51.94 and 52.04. So 52 big level in Temper Sealy.
Microsoft, what a
Oh
pop
my
there
gosh.
yesterday for this stock. It was a Reuters article that broke late Monday night saying that they are potentially going to release Office for the iPad. They were talking about it yesterday on Twitter a little bit, and it was kind of muted right off the hop. It was, there wasn't really much response. The stock opened fairly flat, and then it just started running, and I mean, it started running. It opened up about 20 cents and ran up another buck 30 straight up to where to get to 39.72 or something, or
I
39.90.
Yeah.
So ran straight. That was an incredible move for Microsoft. We were looking, and you were saying the Hewlett Packard earnings could be helping it a bit, but I think it was just that Reuters report that everybody was jumping on the board if they're going to be releasing Office for iPad. And this wasn't from the company. This was just Reuters speculating that they might do this next week.
Look at all those. I have not looked at this one a lot. I have it on my screen. I haven't looked at it in a while. But look at all those highs you had at 38.50. I
Breakout
mean,
city
yeah,
here.
yeah. But then we were talking about it. Brent and I were talking about it, and you had that sneaky open. Opened up 20 cents here, or actually opened up. Opened up 21 cents. And then just had that 4 cent pullback, nothing off the open. You were taking no heat. Once it blew through that 38.50 level, you were thinking maybe there was a little bit of pressure at 39. Blew through
Nothing.
that. Blew through 39.50, got up to 39.90. I mean, can you imagine? There's got to be like 7 trillion for sale at 40, in this thing since I believe this is the highest that we've been in Microsoft. You need to go back to 2000, I believe.
The tech bubble we got to go back to.
Yep.
What was the high back then? Wasn't it like $60?
The high back then, all-time high for Mr. Softy here. I think I got 50. Don't have my glasses on here. It was around 58, $59. But now you're coming back up to the $40 level. Might be some paper there, but with Microsoft, it just if it's gonna make a double top or something, it will give you that area. So watch that 39.90 to $40 here. I think that posed very good resistance today.
I think it'll pose early resistance, but I think it might take it out today. I don't know why. You often
Yeah,
see, how I'm a big fan of my 2 day move where they come in and we had the big yesterday. I think there's a lot of people that were leaning maybe on that 38.5 area when it got up there, maybe trying to short and it just blew right through them, never gave them a shot. I think on pullbacks, they'll be all over this thing. I don't know. I'm thinking it might take it out today. I think eventually it's taking it out, but today, I think it might even take it out. I think it might go through 40. I almost smell a bet here, Joel. And you
Oh
actually
no,
paid me off.
I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the
You're
mood.
not in the mood. You're scared of that
No,
one.
no,
You
no.
like my
I
2 day
gotta.
theory
I
too.
know. Yeah. I gotta do my brackets today. So I just can't. I can't concentrate on anything else but doing my brackets. So I'm not feeling it today. So, but Dennis, we got a lot going on in the chat here, and I'd like to please address some of these issues here. Oh, JH3 is back in the house here, and he wants us to take a look at Citigroup in Walmart. Couple issues we haven't talked about in a while. Citigroup. We'll take a look at that one first. And Walmart was in the news. We'll get to that yesterday. Just having a hard time recovering from after earnings. It had that bad sell off from 55 to 47, battled back to the $50 level. I guess if you're looking to buy this thing on strength here, you had a high at 48.14, and then you had another high at 48.29. So that's pretty good resistance. If you can clear that JH3, I don't see a lot, back on that going through the rest of the 48 and the 49 handle. coming back on the downside. The major support moves up to 47. You did sneak under that level,
When you
46.79. Go ahead,
when you
Dennis.
put that 20-year chart up on
Oh,
Citigroup, it looks
sorry. Oh, sorry.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks really
You got
bullish, huh?
500. Well, all-time highs up like $550 because of the reverse split. Obviously, there was it 10 for one or 20 for one. I can't even remember. 10 for one, wasn't it?
I don't even keep track of
Yeah, it
that.
was 10. I think reverse split or 1 for 10, the reverse split. So those adjusted highs, you can forget about those. If people think it's going back to 550, it's not because they've diluted the stock way too far. Just like AIG, same story. They're never probably getting back to those highs because they just diluted the stock in the financial crisis too much. But short term here, looking obviously, as long as you stay above the whole $46 area, you could say, well, potentially double bottom kind of in place. Went down there 3 days ago, retested in the 46 handle that passed, at least temporarily passed, but not loving the fact that we're only 14 points off the high in the S&P futures, and a lot of these financials really haven't participated.
Yeah, this there's multiple highs here, this 48.14, 48.29 level, so that's where I'd be keeping an eye on that. We haven't talked about Walmart.
Hey Joel, real quick,
Sure, what's going on?
We did just get KB Home results out. Q1 results, EPS 12 cents on sales of 450.7 million. Analysts on KB were looking for just 8 cents on sales, just under 432. So it looks like a strong Q1 report from KB Home.
KB Home spiking up, just hit 1820 here in the session. Holy mackerel! Did someone have an opinion in this thing? It's $17, Dennis. Look at this.
That was 4 days of identical ranges pretty much, or 5 days, 17 in the low 1710, 1712 area, and then you can look at the highs too from those days, the whole 1760, 1770 area. So you had 5 days of the whole channeling stocks.com thing, and we are breaking out here this morning.
Yeah, kind of getting into some uncharted waters here since you had the big decline off the $20 level. 1834 is your high that you had on March 10th, so you'd really like to see continuation through that 1834 level and get back up to lower, higher 18s. 1909 was a high on March 7th, and then man, you got to think if it ever comes back down to 1770, all those people that's selling there are going to be looking to get the stock back. Let's
We
go.
do have, before we go back, just a couple sympathy moves. Obviously, you've got 5 or 6 home builders you can look at. Lennar LEN just ticked up to 4103 on that report, bid up at 4070. You got obviously DHI is another one, which is DR Horton. It's getting bid up 20 cents now, went out at 2245, bid up at 2265. Toll Brothers TOL just slightly bid up just a couple of cents here, but the best offer is up at 3708. So it looks like this is going to spread into the other home builders here as well this morning.
Okay, and we talk about sympathy plays here. For the Juniper. NPTN mentioned by Holtzlock. What about Cisco and as a sympathy play with Juniper?
Cisco's so big. Some people say, okay, yeah, and it's up 4 cents here. But if Cisco was up, I think Juniper would follow more than Juniper, or more than Cisco or follow Juniper. So I don't think you're going to see much of a lift there from Cisco. But the Cisco chart is interesting though, because the last 3 days, all the lows, triple bottom right
We
there,
were
Joel.
talking about this yesterday. We were
There-
talking about this because it got downgraded by Morgan Stanley or somebody. So
Barclays. I
Barclay,
think.
fair look at Brent. He is.
Hey.
Yeah, remember they got the downgrade. It was trading
yeah,
lower in the pre-market, right? But it wasn't. It did spike below. I think it went to like 21.12. Hey, the rush. I think I said that before.
in the
In
pre-market.
the pre-market, and then they opened it lower, and they tried to bust it through there, but that same buyer was there at 21.29 was a low, and it got a nice bounce off there. So there's just a way to use a rating change, a downgrade, to your advantage there, because that support really held in there well. Well, Dennis, we've moved along, and we have it's already 8:34, and we don't want to keep Harlan Pyan on the line too long, so we're gonna get him and be back with some of his analysis. Welcome back, traders and investors. We have Harlan Pyan from All About Trends, and he's all about the uptrend. Harlan, how you doing today?
Oh gosh, I'm doing good. What's not to like about the market?
It
Uh,
is resilient. Yeah, it's
It is.
resilient every time it pulls back. Just a buying opportunity, Harlan. Are you out there buying?
We did a bunch of buying the last couple of days while we were pulling back. Names that were in clearly defined uptrends, pulling back off their highs.
What
That's
stocks?
kind of been the trade. Splunk, SPLK.
oh, that's we were talking about that in the chat room. What do you think about the Splunker?
I like it. Your prime entry
Oh.
point was as it crossed to the upside of its recent downtrend. There's numerous other names
Wait, with the
out
Splunk
there.
here, let me go with the Splunk because that was mentioned in the chat room. Did you try and pick a bottom at 85 here? Because I mean, it gave you one, two, three, four, five, six, seven chances to get in there, or did you pick an intermediate number, or when it broke above these three highs, did you say, okay, the water's okay, I'm hopping in, I have a reference point?
We hopped in when we had a reference point. You saw, it's sitting down there 85-ish for, 4 or 5 days. We picked off a little bit in the 84 range in the face of
Wow.
fear. And, we did a half position, kind of like a happy medium. That way, if the stock did keep going down, at least we didn't commit our whole enchilada to it. Let it stabilize. And then when things started moving, out there in the market, that's when we added to our position. And I think we bought some yesterday right around 85. So we have our full position. We did that with DATA.
Okay. Well, just before we leave the Splunker here, you looking for it to go back up to that 105 and change all time high? Are you worried about the resistance in the mid 93s? I mean, what's your risk reward ratio on this?
Well, we truly don't know where it's going to go. And when you place a target, I just don't like becoming attached to a target because what if it doesn't hit the target? And the next thing you know, it rolls over before it gets to the target. You're going to wish you would have just took the money and ran. Right now, we got support 84. We do have some resistance in that 93, 94 range. Heck, 85 to 93, 94, and, who knows, a couple of days. That's a huge trade.
We
Yeah,
yeah
sometimes you gotta ring the register on that, eh?
we had trail a
At least on
stop.
some.
We trail a stop.
Typically, but for right now, because we're brand new in the position, we'll place our initial stop on any break into new lows, which would be about 83, 80, when it breaks that sideways that we saw.
Right.
So,
Similar formation in Tableau software here. The
mhm.
90, it took a little heat here. It did get considerably through it. You had the triple bottom at the 88.50 level. Then they had the flush. And Dennis, we talk about this all the time, where everyone's leaning on a level, and then
Yep.
va-voom, and they take it down to 86.7, and it's right back up to 92. So did you get in a little bit early on that one and take the heat down to 86.70, or how'd you play that one?
We did. We did. We have a half position in it. We didn't add to it. That big spike down there, if I'm not mistaken, that's the 50-day moving average, and that was when they announced that they were going to do a secondary offering.
Oh yeah. What was the price in the
So
secondary? Do you remember? Because
I don't know if it's been priced yet.
a lot of times what they like to do is spike down or get close to where that secondary is pricing, and that can actually act as a floor sometimes too. And I'm just wondering if that's the
Yep.
case. But
Or it could be the company looking to get the biggest bang for the buck out of their offering, so they could just push it, and then price it way up there at the highs. Selling their peanuts while the circus is in town.
Yeah, you like
So,
that one.
I
Violin
do.
Violin Maker here is popping in here. If you don't use a target, then how do you decide to get out?
Well, that's just it. What are your goals? If your goals are, hey, I want to accomplish $800 a week, or I'm looking for $200 to $300 per trade. You got to look at what exactly is your plan and what exactly are you trying to accomplish. So for everybody, it's a little different. For us, we're going to use our initial stop, on any break into a new low, because that will tell us something else is going on. Give it a little bit of time as it keeps moving and keeps moving. Let's take a look at, with Splunk, we entered in the 84, 85. If it goes to 93, 95, you know what? Maybe we'll sell half. And then next thing you know, we'll raise our stop up to break even. If it keeps going higher, then you know what? We'll peel out a little bit more. You know, we sell into strength and we buy into weakness. You know, as far as, you know, a stock breaking down, I don't want to be there. I'm gone. I'll find something else that's moving in the right direction. So let's look at another one. Workday, WDAY.
Okay.
Wow, that $100, that was a huge level there too. Do you look at the lows when it makes 3-4 lows and then spikes out of that area? Do you like
I
that
think
too?
we figured out Harlan. I think we figured out Harlan's tricks here now. I think
Oh,
so.
gosh. It's not hard. You know, all these patterns that I talk about, they don't just show up in the daily time frequencies. They show up in all time frames and frequencies. So, you know, apply what we're talking about here to, you know, short-term index charts, short-term charts. You know, let's take a look at OWW, which was
Oh
talked
yeah,
about a little bit today.
so put it on the wires on the Benzinga Pro. We have Harlan Pyan fading Goldman Sachs today. Nice
I
job,
just trade
Harlan.
what I see.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your
What do you
what do you
see in
see
this one?
here? Yeah.
Well, we get a leg there. You know, I see a name that hit a peak, and it's been pulling back off its highs.
Now,
Oh.
where would you look to get in this? Because it looks like a lot, like me and Joel were talking, it looks like a lot of air all the way down to that whole
Well, you know, that's
760
always
area.
the risk.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
would
That's
you
always the
be
risk.
nibbling in here and then nibbling in more at 8, or are you
Well,
just looking?
I think you could. I think you could nibble in here a little bit, and then see that big spike day that we had.
I was on
what
earnings.
Mid-February?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
on
that
earnings.
mid-February.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see that big spike day. You know, what is that, around 8.5? Draw a line across 8.5-ish. You know, any break below 8.5, you know, it looks like it's building a new support level here, you know, just above 8.5, or even call it 8.5.
Because they've got the downgrade here today, though, from Goldman Sachs, and it's actually trading down in the pre-market at 847 right now. So it looks like it's
Okay,
going to
well,
open
let's
up in
just
that
line up.
850 area.
Yeah, let's, you know, watch for stabilization like all those other examples. You know, they'll come down, they'll hit a level. I mean, I look at this chart and I see off its peak at 10, it's just pulling back off its highs. Draw your line up all the tops off of that 10 mark, and wait for it to cross over.
So you're looking
When
at
it
this
crosses
as
over,
a
you take the
healthy
trade.
pullback for the stock.
Yeah, let's see what what happens when the dust settles.
So in
You
order
know,
to come up with these, I mean, are you physically going through the charts every day, or have you designed a software program with, with pattern recognition that alerts you to these kind of formations? Because we're seeing some similarities there. Are you going off the old eye test, or are you using software to pick out these patterns for you?
I do it the old-fashioned way. I just look at a ton of charts all over the place. I get to look at the good, the bad, the ugly. I try and look through the whole market, because I want to know not only what looks good, I want to know what to stay away from. And when I do that, I tend to see themes start to pop up. I mean, if you looked at data, you look at Workday, you look at Away, you look at Splunk, these are all
Away.
tech. There's some cloud action. So, and then even look at those like Fuel Cell, Plug, Ballard.
What do you think about those puppies? What do you think about this plug power here?
I knew Joel was going to jump on that.
Yeah. What are you thinking here, Harlan? This is one wild
back off its
shot.
highs.
Yeah. So
It's pulling back off its highs.
Okay, so you're nibbling here then. You're nibbling at the $5,
Well,
$6 level, $7 level. What do you buy, sell, or hold? If you're buying it here at the $6 level, what are you using this 532 low as a
where's
stop?
support? Draw a line across 475.
Well, if you ask
and you'll notice
Citron, the support is at a dime.
Yeah, well.
Actually, 50 cents. Let's
All
not
right,
exaggerate,
yeah,
Joel.
Yeah, okay.
Each their own.
You were
but look
talking.
at-
I
Go
was going
ahead.
to say, you were talking about, well, keep talking about Plug if you're going to give us a breakdown on Plug. We'll take it.
Okay. Well, you look at Plug. It broke out of a base. It ran up, and now it's been pulling back off highs. And, you're looking at around, 435 is right where it broke out. The rule of thumb is old resistance, once broken, tends to become new support. So line up your tops. I take the last 4 or 5 days of highs and just draw a line. So it's pulling back off its highs. That's good. It's in a clearly defined uptrend. That's good. It's above the 50-day moving average. That's good. So those are the three things. That's a perfect one. Look at panel, PANW.
Okay, yeah, that's just a cold slug is popping in here with this one.
Well,
Okay.
well, look what. Okay, we're unplugged now. See, look at that. You just draw a line across $5. Where's support? $5.
Oh, which stock are you looking at? Maybe you're looking at a different one than
No,
where.
I
What's
just
the?
moved on. You got a little bit of delay. I got Palo
Okay.
Alto up now. PANW. Looks like it spiked below 75, but found support just above that. Kind of. Got any kind of opinion on this one?
We're out of it now. But here's the point. You've seen it hit a peak there in February. It pulled back off its highs,
Hmm.
sat there and stabilized for 1, 2, 3, 4 days,
Yep, I see that.
and bam, it just took right off that day. We sold on that strength. So, but if you can scroll that chart to a little bit wider time frequency so you can get a little bit better overall look.
Like a 3 month or something, Joel.
Weekly.
Yeah, you can see the
Yeah.
big run up. I think you're going to cite that run up that we had, from November all the way up to February, and then the pullback, obviously.
Yep.
hmm
Yeah, you got FedEx up there for a second, but we should get that up there. Yeah, very clear defined uptrend in there. Okay, and another one coming out of the chat room here, NG here, and I think isn't that
It's
is it
NQ.
NQ? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember NQ Mobile, the
Oh,
whole
that's the next one.
Citron debacle before. Yeah.
yep. I wrote an article about that, and it's climbed all the way back. It's been kind of quiet here. Let's see if we can get a shorter term chart on that. Boom, boom, boom. Boy, my charts are messing
Had a
me
nice
up.
day 2 days ago.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
You're watching on the show. There is that 10-second delay too, Harlan. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, NQ, after that spike above 22, you're getting a lot of resistance at that $21 level. Three highs between 2097 and 2120.
But
Uh,
this stock has come all the way back from, wasn't it Muddy Waters was
yep.
the one that came out with
No,
this
this
one,
was
knocked the stock all the way down to $7, from 21 or $23 down to 7, and it's just been climbing and fighting its way back and fighting its way back, and it's almost back.
Yeah.
okay, Harlan. Let's just get your analysis here on two more stocks, and then we'll close out the show here. GTAT, GT Advanced Technologies. The stock. I mean, how do you interpret charts? You just let them go. Just let them go. I mean, this is an all-time high in the thing. Yesterday's high, 1851, trading up in the pre-market here. How did Would you just scale out a position like this, or would you just keep a stop under 17 and say, "Come and get me"?
Well, it all depends on where you bought it. If you bought the breakout at the beginning of February at 10.5, I mean, oh my gosh, enjoy the ride, and then line up all your lows on the way up from when it broke out. I'd be willing to think that it's probably trading off the 20-day moving average. So there's another thing that you can use as a trailing stop. If you wanted to, use the 20-day moving average. So
That's
it's a
way
little bit
down
more.
there, though, man. Where's that going to be? That's
Is it?
I don't
Or
know.
is it way
20
down
day.
there?
That's going to be like at four. Just doing
Oh,
some.
20-day, not
Okay.
200-day.
No, 20 day is still going to be. I mean, you be
1556.
okay.
It'll be
Okay.
coming up slowly because you've
Yeah.
had at least 10 days of consolidation here above 16, so it should be coming up now.
Right.
Okay.
It is. It's really starting to come up. So as long as it's above the 20-day, use that as your stop. You also got some good support at 16.
Yeah, that's standing.
So,
Okay,
Double
last
bottom.
one.
so
Triple
if it
bottom
breaks
down there.
16, you may want to rethink it.
Okay.
That's also basically where the 20-day is. So those are two reference points.
Okay, and then the last one here, Maxwell Technologies spiked to 16.15 yesterday, but wow, had a wild range here. Probably just sitting mid-range. I keep an eye on after that kind of day opened up at the low. I keep a close eye on the close here, 15.29. If it could hold that, maybe get back up, test that 16 again. How you looking at Maxwell Smart Technologies here?
Well, take a look at it. It ran up first of the month. And what did it do after it went vertical? It pulled back off its highs, just like I'm talking about. Don't chase them. They always pull back off their highs, just like, we talked about fuel cell and all those other ones. And yesterday, boom, busted right above that pullback off highs line. That was all you needed to know. So go look for names that look like that,
Okay.
that have made spikes and are pulling back off their highs. Take a look at STV. How's that?
STV?
China Digital TV. It's on ADR.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
listen, Harlan, we're running a little long here. If you could hop in the chat room here and answer more questions from our traders, we'd appreciate it. If not, we'll be back with you next week. Thanks for coming on.
You betcha. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Harlan.
You betcha.
You'll
Bye.
notice you'll notice a theme here, and from the majority of our guests, it's the same theme. Obviously, Harlan does it a little bit differently. Waits for the pullback, waits for some consolidation, and then a continuation of the trend. You're going to get Chris Banyai on here in about 3 minutes, and he's going to like all these charts that Harlan's liking too. Big momentum trader. He plays them from an options perspective, but he's always looking when they're breaking out to new highs. He thinks they're going higher, and it's really worked well for him. Obviously, over the course of the bull market, the last 3 or 4 years, been working awesome. And he plays it with options, similar to what Nick Shaheen, how he does it with the credit spreads. So we'll get Chris on here in just a couple of minutes, and he'll talk about that. But what do you think of this strategy overall there, Joel?
I've always liked the consolidations I mean, that's the technical analysis I've been, talking to you about for like 20 years now, and just reference points in the market, where from the time of chart, the charting we do, we don't use a lot of the a lot of the weeklies or the monthlies, and then we don't go in a lot of the tick charts. It just drive you crazy, but you can identify patterns. We were talking about off the air the other day about this Exxon Mobil level, and I was always looking, a lot of times looking through the plunges, through a level. But I mean, you had clearly defined support here at the 93.50 area. So if you're looking at a swing trade, you have an identical thing. So I mean, I think that all the time that I have listening to Harlan, I think this time is like the clearest that I really got his feeling in the charts that we were looking at. Maybe it was just the patterns that happened in the market, but it's something he sticks with. He's identified the trend. He waits for pullbacks. So
Yeah, like I like it. He identifies the overall trend by looking at the daily. So the stock's been running up. He's got the nice uptrend there. Now he's waiting for the pullback. You get a 30, 40, 50% pullback, consolidate there for 3 or 4 days. Then he starts nibbling in and picking bottoms, thinking there's going to be a continuation of that original trend. And that's typically what happens when you look at it just from an investor standpoint. Here you are, stocks ran a long ways. People want to ring the register. They start selling. Profit taking happens. And then so you're getting the old investors in there are turning over into new investors that are now going to be on for the next trend. So he's really taking advantage of that. So I think it's a good strategy.
Nick just popped in the chat, so if any of our traders have any credit spread questions, please shout them out to Nick there. Dennis, I wanted to ask you how this Procter & Gamble trade worked out yesterday. I know you don't like to take heat, and you were shorting against some big size at the $80
Was I in
level.
Procter & Gamble yesterday? I forget it. My goldfish memory. You got to tell me. Oh, I was short it coming in. I was shorted overnight. I had it for an overnight trade. Yeah. So I actually ended up covering the open. I actually ended up getting long. I did real well in the Procter and Gamble. So if you look at yesterday's chart, I was short coming in because I knew I had the 80 level to lean on. So the way I look at it is if I know it's only closing 15 cents off a huge level like that of $80, and I know there's a big guy at the point, I can kind of lean overnight low risk. Most of the short-term traders don't like doing that. They don't like going overnight. So you can take it home short, for 15 cents risk, knowing in all likelihood, unless, they come out and, guides or fundamental news comes out, which is a low probability of that happening. I'm probably going to be able to get covered in a worst case scenario at 80. So I'm risking 15 cents to get a free look at the downside. Market was trading up slightly there. So after that, I'm trying to buy the open. But also, I've also got that whole like tractor beam theory where if the stock is there, it tends to get pulled into the size. Like you always say, they tend, where the stock tends to gravitate to where the paper is. So I actually covered my short and went long on the opening print at 79.80.
Okay.
And I was actually able to sell in 79.90. So it worked out well.
Well, what about that move through 80? Did they shake you like a leaf? Because, we talk about, when the big size, is taken out. And then I think I mentioned like the 80-10 level. I wanted to see follow through 80-10. And then what happened is all these people that were looking at the breakout at 80. I mean, that was
Fake out.
Yeah, that was a pretty good vacuum there, right after the open. it got right back through that level. So we'll see. Is anybody reloading at the 80 level again in Procter and Gamble today or
Little
not?
bit, 40,000 shares there right now, so they are getting a little bit itchy there on the 80 level. We're at 79, 77, obviously. So I think that level becomes resistance here again. A little bit of a fake out yesterday. So keep an eye on the 80 level. We got to take a break though. We got Chris waiting. He's texting me right now saying, "Where are you guys?" Because we're supposed to have him at 8:55.
Oh,
So
you don't tell me what times. You always mess me up. All right.
we'll take a quick break. Right back at you.
Okay.
Welcome back, traders. Look, I get to do the introduction from for once here, Joel. My buddy Chris Banyai, I traded with this guy for the better part of a decade here now. We were bright traders there together, and Chris is a big options trader. He likes to do the credit spreads, similar to what Nick is. Nick's in the chat room there too. Chris, how you doing here today?
Doing good, Danny and Joel. How's everything over there?
We
Not going too bad. We're talking the markets.
Very good, very good.
All right. Well, we've had the run up and then that quick pullback here, and now we're just kind of creeping forward here. So it's kind of tough. I mean, looking for all-time highs and stuff. But during that break, did you have anything? Pop up on the radar?
Well, I'm always just trying to, if I can find something that is probably one of my top plays, I'd probably follow about 150 to 200 stocks, but I like to isolate them to maybe the top 50. So when I see a nice pullback like that, anything that's coming into the 50-day moving average that looks like it's got a chance to bounce off it, I'm looking to either initiate a new position into that option play, or I'm trying to add to an existing option on that.
Is there anything you've recently added here in the last day?
So I've been adding to American Airlines. Now, if you bring up a chart of American Airlines, it was pushing 40 before, this Russia-Ukraine stuff started happening. And it got down all the way to almost $35. So I probably initiated a position on that probably somewhere around when it was 32. So I started adding back to that as soon as it started pulling into the 35 region. Like my expectations of that trade, when you compare it to the other other airline stocks in the industry, they've all got a PE almost twice the size of American Airlines. So that's kind of my value play where I'm thinking the thing could push 45, 50 by the end of the year. So
You're always looking similar. We just had Harlan on. I don't know if you heard his interview or not, but he's always looking at the overall trend here and then buying the pullback a little bit. Is that when you're looking to initiate your option positions, is when you get the pullback a little bit too? Or are you just looking when they're breaking out to new highs? That's basically your signal to possibly, get in some options.
if I see something that is technically going to break out and, I always want to have the fundamentals on my side along with the technicals. That's kind of the key to my strategy. So if I can see something that, looks decent and it's about to break out, I'll look for something that I can put on for a cheap price. Like I'd say, if it's at $16, I can buy the 1750s for $1 or somewhere around there. I wouldn't be looking at buying if it's around 52 and trying to buy the 55 for $3-4. That's kind of just too expensive on something that's just decent looking. But if it's got if I can, earnings just came out and, they beat raise top and bottom and they're guiding higher into the quarter. And for some reason it's pulled back, I'd be looking to kind of load up on a situation like that.
So walk us through this American Airlines trade that you just recently did here. It's the stocks ran up. It's obviously ran up this year from 25 bucks almost to 40. Pulled back here for a couple of sessions, sitting here around 37 bucks right now. What's the trade that you just put on?
So I put on, I'm long the January 2015 $40 calls.
Way out. You're looking
Way
at the
out.
leaves, so
Wow,
you're going
way
way
out,
out.
Yeah.
man. You're like,
No,
oh my
no,
gosh.
this is about 10 months. This is 10 months. So this is 2015, right? So the key to my strategy is I want to find quarter over quarter growth that's coming up into the future. Now with this American Airlines, they just had the merger between American Airlines and U.S. Airways. So that is going to provide the quarter over quarter growth that I'm looking probably for the next 3-4 quarters. So when I see something like that, plus already it's it's
You like
such
the
a
trend. You like the
I
stock
like
that
the
it's,
trend. Yeah,
yeah.
I like the fundamental trend. Plus I like the technical trend, right? And that's exactly what I'm looking for now. Anything can happen over a month, 2 months. Like look at this Russia-Ukraine. Look, you could have a hiccup with China coming up in the next month or so. But if you have enough time and you've got that fundamental trend plus a pretty solid stock trend, you're looking for uh, really you're looking for a 5 to 15% move to somewhere get double your option or triple your option, right?
What would
So that's
make
kind of where I look for.
what would make you cut out on this trade here? I mean, is it a break under 36, or would that not scare you? What would make you cut loose with this trade?
No, I really wouldn't. I've actually sold the 30 put out in that same January for I think 220. So
You got a
technically, I got the
double
trade
long
on
bet
for
on this.
yeah. So I've got it on for about a buck 40. So I think to myself, can this thing make a buck 40 in the next 10 months? When it has everything going for it, right? So if it got down under 30, I'd be willing to actually purchase it long.
Yeah, you're looking at it more from an investment standpoint too on this
Yeah,
stock as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah,
So that's the
yeah,
difference with Chris, from he's going out so long. He's managing more on his investment portfolio here in different ways as well, because we talk about trading a lot and different stuff. But you're looking at this like I want to own this stock. I'm going to look at it from two different perspectives. I could possibly, rate the put from 30 because I would buy it down there anyways, or I can buy and then capture some upside here by buying some outside calls, a little bit of a long-term lotto play, as I think Nick likes to talk about it too. So you're doing it from two perspectives. But sometimes, Chris, you do cut out because you had that new skin. And I remember you were
yep.
long the options on that one, and it got ugly. So walk us through the new skin stuff, because you cut out on this one pretty quick when the going got rough, and you could have really got hurt on this. So how'd you protect yourself here?
So
Anyways.
here I'll start it from the top. New skin came out, top and bottom line crush, and then it came out and it said we're going to even do better this quarter, upcoming quarter, and then about a few weeks later, I had an analyst meeting and they said we're going to even do better. So I was already in it, and then I added to it, but the whole thing is that you want to be profitable. So you're never holding anything for, that thing was up 40% from the earnings release date, and if you're holding through that, you're just one greedy individual. So I say I put the option on for 125 the call, and for $5. That as soon as that thing got up to about 130, 132, that's a double. So I was starting to scale out as soon as that started getting up to there, because I think I put it on the 115 region or something like that. So it started double, then it started triple, then it started quadruple, and I was rolling out of the long side. But then I took I like to do a put call trade where I'll sell the put. I call it the sandwich trade, where I'm always long the meat, where I'll sell the put and then I'll buy the call in the middle, and then I'll sell the upside call to try and put a trade on as cheaply as possible. So I put that trade on at the same time that I put the other separate long call trade on that was just naked. And unfortunately, I was in the stock NQ Mobile. So if you bring up a chart on that, you'll see what happened there. And it's a
The
Chinese
Muddy
play.
Waters gotcha?
The Muddy Waters got me. So I had to, I was actually in that trade while that Muddy Waters happened. And, I'm unfortunately been in another handful of Chinese plays that go sour because, sometimes when it looks too good to be true, it probably isn't, right? So, but you always get pulled into it. So I
So when you
unfortunately,
start hearing some bad stuff from New Skin there, that was just
yeah.
like get
So
out, like right away, like right, like
yeah,
like
Which
minutes
day?
after hearing
Which
that.
day did you cut loose? Because
I
it
I
gave you.
that first initial drop, that drop where I think you still could get out somewhere between the 120s and
Wow.
115 or something like that. So I actually took it off there for a slight profit, like nothing huge, but I knew anything to deal with, China comes up, that's a major red flag. Anything that happens there, it's a wild card, right? So I remember, I think Denny texted me because he knew I like to watch the stock and whatnot. He said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Get out, like don't even play around." And the next day it went to like 60, 67, 51's the low on it. So 2 days, one from 140 down to 67. So anything China related where it doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, whatever, you got
Different.
to
There's
pull
just
the
too many
ripcord.
unknowns. When you've
Couple.
Yeah,
got that many unknowns, and like you say, you're the fundamental technical type of trader. So when the fundamentals, you start getting question marks about the fundamentals, you just get out.
you get out and you don't look back. You can't marry yourself to a position. If you made your money in it, it's done with now, right?
So you were peeling out ahead of that just because it was based on your profit targets, and then
Yep.
when that news hit. So are you getting interested in it at all here, or is it just like you're just moving on? It's just the headlines are still out there. You're consolidating between 70 and 80. Are you thinking of reloading? Or are you just gonna count your lucky stars and move on?
Um, when it got down to $70 or something like that, I just took a flyer on it out into January for the 100 calls. So it's not a real huge position. It's just I've always got a portfolio of 150 different call options and
Lotto
option
trades.
strategies and whatnot. So that's kind of just one in the basket. It's that I don't even look at it really. It's just there. So if it does start turning out whatever, that's fine. But on a side note, that NQ Mobile, I did get back into that because the stuff kind of deteriorated, and now there's two people in that NQ Mobile trade: hedge fund managers that are long, and everybody else that's short. So I kind of like the odds on that one. It's
So
supposed
you
to have
think
earnings
this
coming up.
NQ could come all the way back, maybe get the entire thing back from the whole Muddy Waters? What do you think of this Muddy Waters and Citron coming out? These guys come out basically short the stock ahead and then issue a report, that they're saying sketchy stuff, and the stocks tank 40, 50, 60% sometimes on the report. Obviously, we just saw it, with Plug Power here too. What do you think of this whole Muddy Waters Citron? What's your opinion on that?
It's possibly as shady can get. I would almost say,
It's
you know,
illegal. It's illegal.
they it's
It's
illegal,
not
and
though. It's not really illegal. That's the
that's
problem.
a shareholder should be able to sue those companies if it turns out that it's not true and they lost a ton of money is what I would say, and then you would see that stop almost immediately.
Because what's stopping somebody, once they get that name for themselves, I mean, it's like a green light to print money. You go on, and obviously, if you issue this report, the stock's going to fall 20, 30%. So I'm just going to go short a bunch of stock, issue this report, and then cover into it. It seems ridiculous.
It's yeah, you almost can't do it. It's if that's not illegal, I really don't know what illegal is, right?
Hey, Chris, just going back, we're looking at the charts a lot, and we're talking about your strategies. But violin maker, what factor goes into your fundamental trend? Do you use the IBD, or do you have other sources, or do you just spend a lot of time studying the individual companies?
I do believe a lot in the IBD. I think they have that's the gold standard if you want to do fundamental based research. I think if you follow their methods, you're going to find a lot of champion investors will try to mimic their type of investing style. Um,
And
I
he's
use
talking
this.
about just for people who don't know what the IBD, it's the Investors Business Daily.
Yep.
And they've got some books that they've written on these different methods. Violin Maker's talking Can Slim. Are you familiar with that one?
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
What is that?
That is you're basically trying to you're breaking down the here I'll see if if I can find it for you real quick. But you're just taking the fundamentals and the technicals and mashed them together. And so Can Slim is basically, the C is for current quarterly earnings per share. The A is for annual earnings increase. The N is for new products, new management, new highs. The S is supply demand of the shares out there. The L is leader or laggard. I is institutional sponsorship, and the M is market direction. So you're basically mashing all those together. And if you find stuff that kind of ticks those boxes, you're going to have some high probability. But I kind of, Can Slim in its own is great, but you got to kind of it's like anything. You got to
It's a
take
tool in
something
your
out of it.
toolbox.
It's a tool in the toolbox. Like you've got to, I think if you follow that method, you'll have immense success. But I try and, I still add in my own pieces to the puzzle, and through options and, having a diverse portfolio, and, 20 things may be terrible. The market may be tanking, but you could have 3 or 4 that are superstars and hold you flat, Like I wake up today and one of my positions, they did a reverse merger or something like that, and the thing's up 22%.
What stock is that?
Horizon Pharmaceutical, HZNP.
HCNP.
And you sit there and you're just like, okay, the market may be down today, but I'm probably going to be flat or even slightly positive. So you've got to, not everything's going to work out in this strategy, but the ones that do work out, they take care of a ton of the losers.
I just want to give the traders a feel for like how obviously many positions you trade there too, because I know like how many positions would you have on right now, like in different companies, like right now, like you're running like a portfolio there.
Yeah, I probably got like 100 to 120 different individual stock option plays. They could be, a straight long call. They could be put call, how I like to play the sandwich spreads. They could just be a long call, short put.
So 120 different stocks, like 120 total. So you're talking like maybe 300 different option positions on 100 different stocks?
Probably somewhere, I'd probably say somewhere around there, 200, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so you can just get an idea. Chris is definitely he's like his own portfolio manager and using options to do it, which is very interesting because you go out, obviously a lot of people use stocks and just flat out buy stocks or sell stocks. Chris is always using options to try to figure out where these prices are going, and using the different strike prices as his targets. So it's really a nice strategy.
Okay, Chris, thanks a lot for coming on today and sharing your option strategies with us. I wish we had some more time because I'd like to see if there's anything you're looking at on the bearish side there. You're just bull, 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 but that's what the market's been doing here. So when we have you on the next week or so, maybe give us some things, see if you are applying your strategies in reverse on companies. But Chris, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Your insight in the markets, we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Okay, Denny, before I let you go, I just wanted to just get your quick opinion here on General Motors here. It's had the nice run up, kind of shrugging off the bad news, breaking above here, a double top at the 34 and a quarter, 35.24 area. Are you getting bullish on this one here, or do you think it's just pumping it up a little bit in the pre-market?
Well, I read your piece there yesterday, Joel, that you wrote on it in Benzinga, and obviously you were looking at when a stock starts rallying on bad news, it's often a sign that a short-term bottom might be in, and that was the great point that you made in that article. And obviously the stock a couple of days ago had bad news, reversed that day, and was off to the races. And that was kind of your day when you start seeing like the stock go positive on the day with the bad news. And obviously after 3-4 down days there, that was kind of the signal. So probably your buying opportunity has maybe gone now by the wayside. It was probably in the lower 34s. Now it's up here at 35.26. I don't know if I want to chase it here, but I'd be interested if the stock started pulling back.
Yeah, it's a situation where the spoos are up. You're opening up into some resistance. There's things if you are playing from the long side. I wouldn't let it go much below settlement, something like that if you're looking for the continuation. All
And
right.
Nick's just bringing up a good point in the chat too. He says you can kind of see a little head and shoulders thing happening. The whole left shoulder was around 36. So if we get back up to that 36 area, I think the sellers will line up. Now we're still 75 cents away from there, but if the next couple days, if we continue to rally here, I think 36 major resistance.
Okay. All right, Dennis, we'll let you get ready for the open. Nick, thanks for piping in here. We forgot about Mighty Joe Young. I almost forgot he was here. Mighty Joe, give us some
You
headlines.
did not forget about me, Joel. You're just saying that. You're too busy watching Jim Cramer's Seattle extravaganza on CNBC in the meantime, weren't you?
Actually, I just got my back to that. I don't watch him too much because we got Benzinga Pro giving us all the news that we need. We don't need CNBCs.
Joel Elconin turned his back on Jim Cramer. This is a significant day in history. Speaking of other significant events, moving into editorial headlines from around the globe, if you purchased a Mega Millions lottery ticket in Florida or Maryland, you may be splitting a $400 million jackpot. Against not so wise advice, I did not buy a Mega Millions ticket yesterday. Did anyone else buy a Mega Millions ticket for the third largest jackpot in history? No, good thing, because the winner wasn't sold in Michigan. Lottery officials say 2 tickets purchased in those states matched all 6 numbers drawn on Tuesday night. The winning numbers are 11, 19, 24, 33, and 51 with a mega ball of 7. The jackpot is the 6th largest. Oh, my biscuit. I made a mistake there. 6th largest lottery prize in U.S. history. Mega Millions changed its rules in October to help increase jackpots. The game is played in 43 states, the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The White House will launch a new online initiative on Wednesday that will provide users access to climate data to spread awareness about the effects of global warming in an effort to improve climate change preparedness across the country. As part of the initiative, the Obama administration will make federal data on climate change accessible to citizens, businesses, and local governments in a new section within the data.gov website called climate.data.gov that will be jointly run by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and NASA. A blog post said the effort will help create easy-to-use tools for regional planners, farmers, hospitals, and businesses across the country and empower America's communities to prepare themselves for the future. A person close to a 4-year criminal investigation of Toyota Motors says the U.S. Justice Department will announce Wednesday a $1.2 billion settlement with the Japanese automaker over its disclosure of safety problems. Attorney General Eric Holder, Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox, and U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Preet Bharara, are expected to announce the settlement Wednesday morning. The official spoke on condition of anonymity. I can never get this word. Thank you, everyone that knows how to say the word besides me. Because the official is not authorized to discuss the settlement on the record before its official announcement. Toyota declined comment Wednesday on a Wall Street Journal report of the settlement. The 4-year criminal investigation focused on whether Toyota was forthright in reporting problems related to unintended acceleration troubles. The nation's 4 largest banks, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo, have more than fulfilled their financial obligations towards homeowners under a $25 billion nationwide mortgage settlement reached in 2012, the settlement monitor said on Tuesday in a final report. A 5th major mortgage servicer in the settlement, Residential Capital, had already met its obligations. More than 600,000 households received some form of mortgage relief. The bulk of the money in the settlement, intended to preempt an onslaught of lawsuits over the use of mass-produced and faulty documents foreclosures, was to go directly to homeowners, primarily in debt relief. The banks also agreed to meet certain customer service standards meant to end the prolonged frustration on the part of many who sought help with burdensome mortgage terms. Sony has unveiled a virtual reality headset for its PlayStation 4 game console with a prototype called Project Morpheus. Shuhei Yoshida, president of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios, revealed the device Tuesday at the ongoing Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. The project is still in the development stage, but would be a competition to VR devices such as the Oculus Rift VR headset. This new technology will deliver a sense of presence where you as the player actually feel you're inside the game and your emotions feel that much more real, Yoshida wrote on the PlayStation blog. The 1080p prototype for Project Morpheus is the culmination of over 3 years of work and will serve as the first development kit for PS4 developers that are as enthusiastic about the new medium, he said. Pandora's ad-free music subscription fee is going up due to enormous hikes in royalty costs over the past years. Pandora, the biggest online radio service, announced Tuesday that it is making a price change to its ad-free subscription for some users. The company is increasing the Pandora One subscription rate by $1 for new customers starting in May, charging $5 a month. The change, however, will not affect existing subscribers paying $3.99 a month, but a price hike is imminent in the future. According to the official blog, Pandora is also ending the annual base subscription for both new and existing customers by automatically shifting annual subscribers to a monthly $3.99 plan upon renewal. According to the company, royalties paid to artists increased 53% over the last 5 years and is expected to rise another 9% next year. New customers signing up for the service before May will pay the company's usual $3.99 a month. Walt Disney Company held its annual meeting in Portland on Tuesday and used the occasion to reveal a few tidbits about its forthcoming film projects. Shareholders of the world's largest entertainment company also confirmed all 10 members of the board of directors who were up for election. The meeting was also notable for what did not transpire there. The Burbank Company was able to avoid a vote on proposal put forward by a group of activist investors who wanted to amend the process by which candidates are nominated to the board. Disney headed off the proposal by making a key change to its corporate governance guidelines. According to a regulatory filing made public just hours before the meeting, Disney will now require its board of directors to provide annual justification for having one person hold the chairman and chief executive positions. Detailing the company's animated film pipeline, Bob Iger said that Disney's Pixar Animation Studios plans to make a sequel to the 2004 hit The Incredibles and a third film in the popular Cars franchise. The company's Walt Disney Animation Studios is riding high. Last year's Frozen is on track to become the biggest grossing animated film in history, taking in $1 billion in 4 months. Iger also discussed Disney's upcoming Star Wars film, which is slated for release December 18, 2015. He said the movie, Star Wars Episode 7, would take place 30 years after Return of the Jedi and feature some very familiar faces along with a trio of new young leads. That wraps it up for the headlines. Today's trivia tidbit: on this day in 1966, Texas Western College won the NCAA men's college basketball final at Cole Fieldhouse in College Park, Maryland. This marked the first time an all-black starting five had won the NCAA championship. Texas Western, now the University of Texas at El Paso, that was half of a sentence there. Texas Western, now the University of Texas at El Paso, period. Western Texas' journey was depicted in the 2006 film Glory Road. Today's trivia question, Joel, you paying attention?
Kentucky.
Who did they defeat in the final?
Kentucky.
Did you want to give anyone else a chance?
I don't think they have a choice anymore.
I don't think
Joe.
so, yeah. Well, the top-ranked University of Kentucky men's basketball team was favored in the final over the third-ranked Miners. Adolph Rupp, Kentucky's coach from 1930 to 1972, recruited almost exclusively inside Kentucky, earning the nickname the Baron of Bluegrass. Like many other coaches of the time, Rupp neither recruited nor played African-American players. Congratulations, Joel. You just got 20,000 Benzinga Pro bonus points taken away from you for blurting out your answer before anyone had a chance. Thank you for playing Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the games are made up and the points don't matter. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that the show would not be possible without our friends at Options House. That'll give you 150 commission-free trades just for signing up for an account through this page. There's buttons at the top. At the bottom right, click on through, open an Options House account, get 150 commission-free trades just because you listened to Benzinga's pre-market prep. And that's it for me. I think Brent is around here somewhere. Hopefully his feelings aren't too hurt that he didn't have a chance to answer today's trivia question.
Nah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I figured you would be.
Shub should have known that's like a Joel specialty anyways. Like, I
Shubs
think
also hasn't learned yet that the sports trivia is terrible. It doesn't make for interesting conversation.
If
Did
you're
you
not a
know,
sports fan.
Joel, that Adolph Rupp, his nickname was the Baron of Bluegrass?
I did not know that, but
That should have been the trivia question, I think.
Yeah. No, that was a good flick, and I was like, I'm trying to think of who was the coach of UTEP. Was it when they won? I mean, was it Guy Lewis who ended up being the former? That would be a good one. The coach. We can look that up at Texas Wesleyan.
Oh my gosh, I'm falling asleep right now.
Okay. Okay. What's going on with the Brenster here? What you got going for
Not
us?
too much. Let me hit you with some of the upgrades, some of the downgrades this morning. We did talk about Orbit's a bunch. They were
Oh, yeah.
downgraded by Goldman Sachs, downgraded to sell from neutral. So, as Dennis was highlighting, Goldman is not liking Orbit's this morning. We also had a downgrade. Oh,
Before we
hey,
move on,
what?
Harlan
Harlan
Lion, Pyan,
Pyan.
Pyan, he's looking for him. He's shaking off Goldman
He's
Sachs.
sticking his neck out, huh?
Yeah, he's saying it has a well-defined uptrend, and now this is a pullback, and he's looking for the pullback here. I mean, he's not going to get all giddy and everything here, but just word of caution. We'll have to jot this one down in the Harlan files for next week.
I'm looking at a bit of history on this Goldman analyst coverage of orbits, and Harlan might be onto something. This Goldman analyst seemed kind of quiet on orbits. He initiated coverage back in December of 2011 and hasn't done a whole ton on the stock until just now. The analyst had made a neutral rating for about 2 years or so, so Harlan could be onto something here. We also had a downgrade on shares of Yingli Green Energy. The ticker there is Yankee Golf Echo. At Bank of America, they downgraded the stock from buy to neutral. That's one of those solar plays, Joel.
Could you?
One of the rather momentous solar plays at that.
What's the symbol?
It is YGE.
YGE. So
Yeah.
it's a solar play. You have a sympathy play. You have Solar City trading down.
You have Solar City trading down on results, and also going on right now is an analyst day by First Solar, and that's kind of been long viewed as the best of breed in the solar sector. So a lot of things that hit in the solar sector today.
Yeah, that the YGE gap down yesterday, kind of a little bit weak in the pre-market here. The low that you had, that 511 low yesterday, coincides with another low that you had at 515. So let's see if this one can hang a day or two here at the $5 level. It might be worth a swing trade. And Joe, could you dig up? Could you see if we could get Gordon Johnson on again? Because he's the solar guy and he's been
That's
coming.
Yeah, Gordon
Axiom, right?
Johnson's birth. Yeah, that's Gordon Johnson. So I think he's solar analyst, or no, he's more into
I think like
solar technology.
maybe
and
like
stuff.
alternative energy.
Yeah, at
in
Axiom
addition.
Capital. His birthday was actually last week.
So we got a little birthday
I
shout
did
out
want to
to
bring
Gordon
him on the
Johnson.
show last week, but I was unable to get a hold of him. But I've got some open spots next week. Maybe we can preview right now and get Gordon Johnson next week.
No promises.
Okay, just Brent, before you go on with the ratings
Sure.
here, Morganomics is popping in here with Crown Media here.
Need a little help.
Yeah, he needs a little help, and I think the reason he needs help is that this thing is just stuck here. It's holding 370 here, couple blows, 368 and 372. So I think you're okay with that. I'd sure like to see it get back up to bust through that 390 level. Perhaps pop above 4. So slow mover here. I don't think you're going to get rich or you're going to get poor. The kind of consistent patterns that it's had a bump up consolidation, another bump up with no consolidation, another bump up consolidation here. So the trend's your friend. I think if people that are holding out, maybe check the short interest on this too. But I think if you could bust above $4 here, I think you get another move up. But ding, 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 and what's that mean? Dinner time?
It means we are open for trade on Wall Street.
I
What do we got?
thought breakfast was ready.
Ooh, who's got breakfast for us?
Joe, you buying lunch today?
Why? Well, I mean, I probably will have to buy a lunch, yeah, because I don't have one. But I mean, as far as like for the whole news desk, no, I was going to send Brianna to do it.
Okay. All right. S&Ps are open for business here.
Kind of selling
And-
off at the open.
Yeah, what's going on there, Brent? You calling the double top? There's 1867 in the spoos yesterday.
I didn't say that.
Are you shorting? Get some analysis out of here. I don't want any analysis paralysis. I want to see what you got going on here. 1867 even yesterday's high, 67.50 the high in the pre-market. So, Brett, if you're looking at any kind of short there's your area to lean on. Trading above the close, 63.50 was the close. We'll use that as a minor support point. with all that being said, Brent, what else you got on the upgrades and
I
downgrades?
did the downgrades. I switched it around today on you. I'm gonna do the upgrades now. We have shares of Transocean opening up about a percent right now. They were upgraded at Citigroup this morning. Citigroup took them off a sell rating. Now rate that one with a neutral, sitting around 39.61 at last check.
Yeah, pop and drop here. The $40 level got up to 39.97. I don't like when a stock opens up higher, takes and doesn't get the immediate follow through here. So now we're just coming back down. I mean, Barron's talks about this stock as a good value, and doesn't isn't Carl messing around in this one too?
Let me
You take a
see.
look, and then also, where else did I hear something? Oh, wasn't it added to the S&P for a while ago too?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, all the factors are going, and the stock just goes lower here. So, not real impressed with the open. That resist looks like $40. If it can finally clear that, there's some room on the upside here. But I don't know, just no love for this stock.
Icon does have about a 6% stake in Transocean. Just to get back to you on that one, shares of Teva moving up about 50 cents this morning. They got upgraded, excuse me, at Goldman Sachs. Goldman now rates that one with a neutral rating.
The Israeli pharmaceutical
That's
company
right.
here, making a move up here. This $50 level, this 50.53 that it hit, coincides with a high that you had a little bit lower than 50.70 here. So let's just keep an eye on that as a potential resistance area. And then, I also just thinking of Teva, I just want to think about Mylan Labs here. Let's see, Mylan is it had that major run up here. This is a Harlan trade here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had the run up over 56, and then it came back down. Gave you a couple shots again at the $52 level here. Double bottom, exact double bottom. Well, not exact, 51.86, 51.87, and now climbing back up. I just want to alert our traders. It'd been a couple highs above 54. 54, 52, 54, 38 potential resistance area.
Let's take a look at the open in Juniper. We talked about
Oh,
this one a little
yeah.
bit earlier. They were upgraded at Wells Fargo from market perform to outperform this morning. Ticker is JNPR.
Yeah, they got real excited about this in the pre-market here. That euphoria has faded, traded up over 26.80 in the pre-market, traded up to 26.90, and now we're pulling back with some big volume here, even opened at the high. I don't know, a lot of people probably stuck this short this thing, so you're probably not going to get down to that $26 level, but should be interesting if you do. If you're looking to play this on the Momo side here, it goes back through the open 26, 39, 37 open, 39 high, and holds. Then you got a shot on the long side, but not liking the early activity here in Juniper. What were the sympathy plays? I know a bunch of people were hopping in the chat room with stocks that they thought were related to that.
Juniper?
Yeah, I was
Still?
yeah, I was doing
How?
a little stretch with the Cisco, and that getting a little bump up, but hasn't taken out yesterday's high. Trade the range here in Cisco 2171 yesterday's high hit a high today so far today's session 2169. So running into a little bit of trouble.
The other ones I like to look at in that sector are F5, that's FFIV, and then also Aruba Networks, a good one. ARUN is the ticker there.
FFIV
Yep.
here. That's a little bit more of a wild child, though, isn't it?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
basing, making, yeah, I mean, it's a $112 stock, moving up here. 112.50, the high, exceeded that 112.23 high. So kind of opens up after that. I mean, well defined resistance, right? That 115 level. Little bit out of the question, though, but you did get a chance to buy this thing. Let's see the continuation through this 112.50 area. Alcatel-Lucent, ALU. Now that's a lower price stock, correct? ALU. See if we can get our charts to info right. Oh, we just took a little dip here, Brent. Through the close, I took my eye away from a second, and now we're in the red. Oh my gosh. Pre-market low, 1861. Keep an eye on that. Kind of went through settlement like a hot knife through butter. Let's see what happens at this 1861 level. Things really open up after that. My charts are. Was anything come out, Brent? Was there any news? And
Um,
I know you always say I'm a little bit news crazy, but that was a nice drop. We are $5 off the high.
I
So for
am
you
not seeing a ton.
folks, Alcatel Lucent not really moving today. Sitting on took out yesterday's low here, not getting a lot of follow through. $4 seemed to put a lid on it yesterday. This hasn't been moving. Maybe if it doesn't hold this 393, maybe get a slide down to 380.
I am getting ready to hand the mic over to Jake here, but real quick before I do that, I just wanted to highlight there was some news earlier on JP Morgan. They did confirm that they're going to sell their physical commodities unit with the price tag around $3.5 billion. So pretty big deal there, but as it goes with these banks, kind of like divestiture, M&A kind of stuff, it doesn't move the stocks a ton.
What does it just have to do with Dodd-Frank getting out of the trading, or just just ringing the cash register, getting rid of a unit?
I think they're just taking a little profit here, taking a little off the table.
Okay, just JPM. Just take a quick look at that. It's running into some resistance here. Have a kind of a double top here. 58.10, 58.16. Hit that those two levels. Keep an eye on that. With that market kind of peeling back, I looked tight range yesterday. First support point 57.62. Below that 57.05. So Shaky Jake, have you shaken up your brackets yet based on last night's results?
No, actually. So did NC State end up winning last night? So I think I thought they were gonna win their game. I don't know. I didn't catch either of the
I
games
didn't
last night.
catch either of the
The one that
games.
I'm really interested in is Tennessee Iowa tonight. I think that's gonna be an amazing game. I think that could be one of the best games of the week. We'll see. Both are real strong teams. On that J.P. Morgan though, I wanted to make a quick note. One way to look at it is it is a divestiture, but Goldman Goldman Sachs recently sold all of their copper warehousing businesses after they were getting criticized for manipulating commodities markets. That was in the early fall, is when Goldman Sachs was getting out of that business. So they were getting out of their hard commodities business as well. So I think these investment banks are trying to get out of that business because they're really taking a lot of heat there, and there's not, I guess, not a specific regulation that says they have to get rid of them, but I think they're anticipating that there's going to be if they don't just do it on their own. So why not sell them off before a regulation like that's written? Because if you think about it, if a regulation like that's written and forces them to sell the unit, that would force the price down on the unit and they would get less for it. So if they preemptively pull the trigger and sell it off, maybe they get 3.5 billion like they sold it for versus 2.5 or something. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
So
All right.
that's my take on it, but take it with a grain of salt as always. Moving over to some of the movers this morning, we did have Juniper Networks moving up on that analyst rating. I don't know if you guys hopped into that Juniper rating or not. Wells Fargo giving it a higher price target and moving it, giving it an upgrade, and it was really rallying earlier. We had over 5.5% on it. I guess we've given up a lot of that boost this
Yeah,
morning.
we did. It's kind of interesting here because you're right back at the open, right back at the high. After trading much higher, you did catch some sellers there. I was kind of hoping to get it near closer to the $26 level, so I wouldn't have to worry about his gap as much. But shorts, too much for the shorts to handle here. Only hit 26.20, now rebounding back through the open. So it's key. It's key to get this follow through this opening area, which you're getting here. So possible swing trade to the upside here in Juniper Networks.
So another one that's on the move this morning is Solar City. Company
Oh yeah.
reported a 46-cent loss versus the 55-cent loss expected after the close yesterday. Revenues of 47.3 million versus expected 45.27 million. Company did release some guidance, expecting a loss of 70 to 80 cents a share for the first quarter versus the expected loss of 50 cents a share. So that was pretty rough.
Wow, this thing is quite a bit of a range already. Snuck down to 73.10 here. Oh, this is all over the map. Open to 76.17, ticked a nickel higher. That was a buck low. So if you were shorting this off the open, quick windfall down here to 73.10, and you've popped back up. You got about a 3 point range, so I'd keep an eye on the 74.50 level. That's mid range on the day. If in fact it does not get back over there, look for a retest of that 73.10 level.
So other ones moving this morning, I guess can hop into some of the earnings from this morning. FedEx did report,
Yeah,
as you
look at
guys
this
know.
puppy. Look at this thing.
$1.23 versus $1.54 expected. Revenue is 11.3 billion versus 11.46 billion for anyone who hasn't caught up on the report yet. FedEx and UPS were moving together this morning. So what are you thinking on this FedEx report?
I mean, this thing is all over the place. In the pre-market, they pounded it all the way down into the 134 area, 134.47. But in today's session, if you were just going on the lower, using the opening 38.11, took 20 cents worth of heat. We spread it up all the way to 140.75 here. So furious trading activity on that, about a 3 point range again. I'd keep an eye. Buck 50, 38, 30, 39.50. Let's call that your area of control here. Holds 39.50. Let's see if it can get back up into 140 handle. If you can't hold this 139.50 area, maybe get back down to the close at 138.57. But whoever sold there during the pre-market on the initial headlines may be regretting that right now.
No kidding. What do you think of UPS right now? I feel like we should hop into that as well. Being a major pure play and competitor. I mean, this morning when FedEx was down, it was right down there with it.
It did, and someone sold a boatload there. Dennis probably wishes he got a piece of that one at the pre-market. There was a big seller at 96.40. Same kind of move here. Rebounded nicely. Got to pop up. Now this is a little bit more tradable here because 97.82 was your high from yesterday. Now you got 97.86. So perhaps someone targeting this whole $98 area. So this did hit some identifiable resistance. We'll see if we can get some follow through those two highs.
Well, another one that we were looking at was EXAS, which is Exact Science,
What
Echo,
happened?
X-ray, Alpha, Sandy. They released some a study on one of their colon cancer tests, and it looks like it's really been getting traders fired up. What interests me the most, right, is if you look at yesterday's session, right, those results didn't come out until this morning, as far as I understand, or maybe it was after the close yesterday. Point is, if you look at yesterday's session, traders were buying it throughout the entire day. So somebody already had that report, or somebody was betting.
Or they're
farm.
taking a shot. They're taking a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
I
do
guess.
that. I mean,
I guess, but it was it rallied up 10% yesterday and was up like another 14 today. I don't know. I just thought that was some interesting action that's going on out there.
I mean, if you're short, what was the trial for? I mean, I
You know
don't
what?
f- I don't-
I know it was a colon cancer test. That's really
Okay.
all I know. Let me dive in and see if I can find anything.
because did it what was IPCT? That was kidney. Yeah. Yeah, they changed the symbol to ICPT. No, I mean those kind of things. I mean, if you're gonna take a shot, and that's what they did, and then it hit all that resistance there. So also, I think you get a combination of some short traders getting a little bit nervous going into the race. I mean, because that's something that only the people, that's all they do is they follow those drug trials and stuff, and they make that their profession here. What's interesting about this is it got way overdone in the pre-market. DJ, I know you were looking at it. You've been holding on. I mean, there's this kind of opportunity. Almost hit $17, and now trading back under 15. Just made a low at 14.82. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's gonna wiggle down to that 14.50 area. Also gave you a shot off the open too if you were inclined to sell this. 15.51 open with a 15.60 high.
Well, I guess if no shots are being fired over in Ukraine, that means markets go red, huh? That's kind of weird. I guess we do have Yellen talking today. Maybe people are kind of putting on a hedge for that, but seeing the S&P is kind of heading down right now. Joel, what are you thinking for today's session?
Just drifted down. Nothing to be alarmed about. 62 even is the day session low, coinciding with the pre-market low at 61. So let's see if we can hold the support area. definitely get back near that 67 area. Potential double top, 67 even, 67.50. Now, if you get below this 1861 level, then I'd get a little bit of concern. The intraday low from yesterday was 52.75. So not liking this market under 1861. But I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat today. Violin Maker, Morganomics, Jared before he went to go work out, GGB, DJ. You guys, Colts luck too. I don't want to leave you out. Bobby, we didn't hear from you, but all you guys make the show a lot more interesting, a lot more worthwhile if we can concentrate on the issues that you're looking at. So have a good trading day and get your ears ready. We got Fari on tomorrow, and that will always be interesting. Jake and Brent, you guys make great contributions to the show. Jason and Kirk and
He's gonna name everyone
Brianna
except
and
me.
Jason and Kyle and Kenny and Sarah and Louie and Brent.
Calling
Everybody.
everyone out.
Oh, and Joe and Mighty Joe.
Yep,
Young.
there it
Yeah,
is.
Okay.
Save the best for last. Did you say Dennis's name though, Joel?
Oh, well, yeah. Dennis
I don't know,
is-
Dennis. If you're listening, Joel did not call you out just now. I would pick a fight with him.
Okay. All right, you guys have a good trading day.